Sure. Hello, everyone. So I think we can start the session. And maybe before starting this session, we can just discuss a little bit about what we have covered previously in our previous last week session. So that time we have discussed a little bit about gridless mining. We have focused more on the Africa region that time. We have discussed about the electricity challenge and what is gridless and what are the benefit or the value creation we can do with the help of mining. So these are the things we have discussed, mostly related to the Bitcoin mining and renewable energy sources. After that, we have also discussed a little bit about electrification landscape. We have also discussed about Bitcoin mining characteristics and little bit about the implementation and the future outlook. If anyone has any doubt regarding the previous session, they can ask. We have also discussed about uh, grid development and why, if we are using this planning or if we are building the grid or planning the grid, it will take a lot of time. As we have discussed last time, even in the grid development, if you're just talking about the generation, transmission, distribution, that itself may take, like, sometimes generation would take 2 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Transmission may take 5 to 7 years. And if you want to distribute it using grid, then it might take 7, 8 years just for the whole grid development. That's why in many places people are preferring gridless system. Okay. Now in today's session, we will discuss more about how we will be making or building a smart mining firms. So let us suppose what are some smart choices, or if we are planning to build a new mining operation, or let us suppose you have joined some company as a consultant and you want to plan to build a new mining operation, maybe in Ethiopia or maybe in Texas or any other country. What are the things you have to look for? Sorry, anyone has any question or anything? Okay. So yes, I was talking about what we will be discussing. So we have already discussed about the gridless mining and all those things, and little bit about the Bitcoin mining and electrification. In today's session, we will discuss about what are the smart choices we can make. We will discuss more about the mining as well. Maybe you guys are now a little bit aware about the mining, but we will discuss something like, okay, which is the first miner whenever that is started in 2013 and these things. And we will also discuss how to make the smart choices and when we are planning to build a new mining operation and what are the technical specs we have to look for. I remember last week I was looking for the feedback and someone has asked uh, if we are a chemical engineer or mechanical engineer, uh, do we get a job in Bitcoin or we have to learn the software? So this also we will try to cover in this session. You are from mechanical background or a chemical background, then there are so many jobs or technical jobs. Even if you don't know about coding and all those stuff, you will be getting jobs in the mining industry, and we will discuss about those things. So, okay, first we will discuss about how to plan those things, all the technical specs, and after that we will discuss about, okay, how to optimize the hardware operating cost. Then we will discuss a little bit about the resources beyond Bitcoin. Okay, so that will be our agenda. So, okay, is anybody aware of where the first mining operation held? Like here it is mentioned itself in Italy, but anyone is aware of which one was the first Bitcoin ASIC miner, or any guesses, or which was the first ASIC large module miner? if you don't remember the model number, if you know the company name also, you can tell me. Okay, so we are gonna
Ant
cover.
miner, ant
Yes,
miner
so
one.
okay, so people feel the Bitmain or the Antminer because Bitmain is the company name, Antminer is the series name, just like Samsung Galaxy. Okay, but this is not true. You will feel strange. The first ASIC large module miner was from Canon. Okay, so before Bitmain uh, came, before that, Canon has already built Avalon 1. So if you will search it, so this was the first one larger module miner. Let me see if I can find. Yes, this is the image. And I have seen this miner because I was in Lugano and there is a guy who is into Bitcoin mining since 2013. And he has purchased this miner and he was using that. So this was the first ASIC large module miner. But if you will ask me, okay, which one's the first chip which got introduced? So that was pretty early, I think in 2011-12. I did not remember the year correctly, but that was from Bitfountain. So if you will search it on Google, maybe you will find it. So that was ASIC Miner BE100, if I'm not wrong. Okay, let me search. So, okay. So that was just a USB. I cannot see or find the image. I think this is not the one. But that was similar like this. But that was the first company, Bitfountain, which has used the ASIC and created a smaller ASIC miner, just like a USB. That's why that was a USB stick which you can connect it. That was having a USB A, I think. No, not this one. So that was the first miner. Okay. But if you will ask me which one publicly available, because this is the industrial one which we are talking about. So Canon, whenever we will talk about a Bitmain or Antminer, Canon or the Quartz miner, those are industry graded miners. So this is the first one industry grade miner, Avalon. This was the first one, just a USB stick. But whenever people started using that, that was from a company named Butterfly. That was just like a Raspberry Pi. Butterfly. Yes, this was the one. So you can see the Butterfly Lab. That was I did not remember. It was 5 gigahertz, but I remember that was something around 3 to 5 gigahertz per second, and this was the first public Bitcoin miner which was using ASIC, and that was something around 2011 and 12. So USB stick was the first ASIC miner. And if you will ask me before that, so before that, as you remember, in our earlier session, we have discussed people were using CPUs, just like Intel i3, i5, i7, these type of CPUs they were using. And after that, GPUs, then after that, FPGAs. But here, once we are talking about once ASIC came into the picture, and that was early 2012 or 2011 and 12, around that period. And the first ASIC miner was B100. That was just a USB pen drive, so that just for a hobby purpose. But if you'll ask me, the real Bitcoin miner, if someone was using as a solo or something, you can say that that was Butterfly Labs, 5 gigahertz per second ASIC Bitcoin miner. You can watch this video, you will get a better idea. But industry grade, everyone I have seen, I have given this session to Tether as well, and I have asked that time. Many of the employees were saying, okay, Bitmain was the first one, Bitmain was the first one, but Bitmain is not the first one. Avalon 1 was the first from Canon. But why Bitmain is so popular? Because just you might be aware, like iPhone is very, very popular, right? But iPhone is not the first mobile phone they built. But the iPhone series once they came, similar like once Antminer built or Bitmain built the S9 series, that was very popular and very. So after that, the Bitmain name, or I would say that everyone is aware of the Bitmain after the S9 series. But that was pretty late after Avalon 1. So during 2012 and 13, okay, so here, yes. So during 2012 and 13, the first ASIC miner chip was, as we have discussed, that USB stick, and after that, this Butterfly Labs Jalapeno, which was just a Raspberry Pi type of thing. And after that, Avalon was the first large scale miner from Canon before the Bitmain. Okay, and Bitmain rise happened after they have created the chip name, just like Apple has created iPhone. They have created B11387. Yes, I think this is the chip. This was 16 nanometer and was anyone is aware of how much giga, what was the hash rate for this BM1387 is very popular one. That was the chip was there in the Antminer S9, and that was not giving in terahash, that was in giving giga hash per second. So 71 gigahash per second, and the watt, it was consuming something around 7 to 10 watt. So you can think like, okay, 7 to 10 watt, just one AC, and that was giving 71 gigahertz per second. This was the revolution because earlier Butterfly Labs or Canon, or means if I'm saying Canon, Canon is the company name, Avalon is the series name, so Avalon 1, they were not able to optimize the ASIC in such a way that it will take that much power and were able to generate so much hash rate. So Bitmain was the first one who were able to achieve this, and that's why the Bitmain rise occurred, and everyone was asking for Antminer S9, 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 and that's why everywhere you were seeing Antminer S9. Okay, so we have discussed, and now maybe you might have the idea, okay, how the early ASIC miners and the market history. Now, if anyone have any idea like where the large scale mining data center was earlier, like okay, people are aware of in China, Bitmain was having a very large share. Bitmain started mining in 2016-17 using this S9 miner. Okay, so they have made this pretty beautiful ASIC chip, and Antminer S9 is still very, very popular. And what Bitmain decided after that, that okay, they will create their own mining firm and will start mining the Bitcoin. So did they purchase the land and all those things? No. That time they had a collaboration, if I'm not wrong, with China Mobile. So they were having some place for data center, and they have started using that. And after that, they have started doing mining heavily. And as we have discussed earlier, there are three types of generally miner would be there, right? Air cooling, water or hydro cooling, and immersion cooling. So immersion cooling, sometimes people also say oil cooling. Okay. So they were using hydro cooling, not air cooling. Okay. So people feel okay, the first one might be they might be using air cooling for that. No, they were using hydro cooling. And why they were using hydro cooling? Because water was there in the region of Sichuan. That was the region in China before uh, China government banned. I think this was the first or the second region where the Bitcoin mining was happening in a large scale. And why? Because first thing is large amount of water. Second thing is in China, if you will ask anyone, the electricity is very, very cheap. So cheap energy, lots of water, and also you have a 24 hours power supply. And the fourth and the most important thing, the cooling advantage, because China, if I will talk about the north or this side of area, those areas are very cool. So, and also the cheap labor is the uh, by default once we are talking about China, right? So earlier the biggest farm was from other companies like before Bitmain. I think we have discussed about Butterfly and these things. That time there was a company Bitfury. They were having a biggest farm, and I think it was Bitfury. Okay, so I think it was in Holland, but we can double check. And after that, once Bitmain developed this BM1387, which is nothing but the ASIC which we are using in S9, they have started making large scale mining data center. And the four region in China was very, very dominated before the ban from the China government, right? Now, why hydroelectric? So we have also discussed this. I think it should be there somewhere. Yes. So hydroelectric, why? Because as we have already discussed, that is rich in rivers. China, okay, so this we have also discussed that China Mobile and Bitmain has a partnership that time. Bitmain, because Bitmain was having the miners, China Mobile was having the data center or the space which they can use and they can start putting the miners and they were doing the mining that time. Advantage we have also discussed like 24 hour energy supply was there, all those things. Why we are discussing all those things? Because you have to know how those guys are profitable. Then, after discussing the history, we will move further and we will discuss what are the things we have to look for once we are discussing or we are planning to make a mining firm. So, we have discussed about this much. Now, if I will ask you what you need to build a smart mining operations. So, there are so many things we might need. Maybe something if you want to add, you can add. I will also keep adding it. But what do you feel? What are the things you want? Means we have discussed little bit about Bitcoin mining in our previous sessions, right? So what do you feel? What are the source selection you need? What are the things you require to make a smart mining operation? First, definitely a power source, correct? Second thing, if I will ask about, yes, maybe you need proper voltage monitoring for ASIC or ASICs. If I ask what are the other things you might need PPDU. So PPDU is nothing but PPDU is for the power. Think like a power supply. So if you have 10 miners, so let us suppose these are miners, which I'm writing as a number, right? And you will be having some source. So let us suppose we have a wind energy as example. So that source will go to PPDU. PPDU will distribute all the power to PSUs of individual ASICs. Oh, sorry, individual miners. And these are the miners, okay? So PPDU will give the supply to all the miners you can think of. So you need PPDU, but if you want to build optimized one, so you need a smart PPDU. Then, if I will ask, what are the other things you required if you need to build a smart mining operation? So, internet is also because if you don't have internet, servers, nodes. It depends. If you are using mining pool, then maybe you don't need nodes. But if you are not using mining pools, then maybe you, if you are doing solo miner, if you are using datum, that time you also need node as well. Any other thing? Definitely you need cooling systems. And most important thing, you need miners as well, right? And if you want to optimize, so all the big companies, they have all those things. Apart from that, they will be also having some software for management. Just like if you, okay, anyone might have heard about this name, Moria. Okay, let me search it if that is available. So, okay, so this is the software which actually this has been developed by Tether, and this is generally used to control all the miners. Okay, because see, if you are doing solo mining, then you either you will be having one miner, two miner, three miner, or less than 10 miner, not more than that, right? But that also, if you have one or two miner, you can control everything manually, you can monitor everything manually, right? But think for big companies like Mara or any other companies, like let us suppose if Tether has a Bitcoin mining firm, will they able to, do you feel like, oh, if they have one person in each mining firm, will they able to handle all those miners? No, because the miners itself would be more than 100, 200, 300, 400, right? Depends on the mining firm. Then you need a specialized kind of software through which you can able to fully control all the miners, all the PSUs, all the PPDUs. Why I'm saying all those things? Because if you are using wind energy, and you can think if you are using hundreds of miners, and you might be aware of, okay, how much one miner uh, power required, right? Power required, you can check it and multiply it by 100. So now you can imagine how much uh, large scale we are talking about. And if anything wrong happens, the whole mining farm will get, like if any short circuit, or if let us so temperature will go above threshold, and miner will not able to handle it, what might happen, it might burn the ASICs, and one ASIC got burned and maybe the whole miner will got burned. Okay, so these things they have to monitor it in real time, and if someone is on the remote, they should be able to control everything. Okay, so this is some kind of software. All the companies will not be using this one, but yes, some of the mining farm is still using this. This is a Web3 development platform based on Hole Punch. Hole Punch is also a part of Tether. What it does? So it is a highly modular, and okay. So you there might be one question I remember someone might have asked me in the previous sessions once I was covering this, like, will this software will able to handle all those Chinese player as well, like Antminer, Watchminer, Canon, and everything? Yes, it will able to do. So uh, they will able to control that some of the Antminer's models, Canon, and all those things. You just need to register it, and after that, this software will able to handle, and it will show you all those data. Ideally, I cannot, uh, I don't have, but how it will show. So okay, let me see if I can uh, find some image so I can. Okay, yeah, I can. Okay, yeah. So this thing I can. Okay, so yes, this looks like. So if you have, okay, so let us suppose, uh, uh, okay, this is a sample one. That's why you are not seeing all the details. But yes, like okay, you if you have a farm, you will be having the farm details. what are the miners are connected, all those miners will show there. You will see all those IPs of all those miners. You will see, okay, what is the exact temperature, how much terahash they are giving. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, this I can also see in the solo miner. If I have a IP, I can do that. Yes, you can do that. But once you are having one or two, you can check it. But if you have hundreds of, will you log in all hundreds each one of them and will check it? No. Then you connect everything to one of the software, smart software management. So this is just like management software, and all the devices will be showing here, all the devices here, and you will able to operate. So irrespective of the brand, so if it is from Brains, if it is from Antminer or from other, you can use only one, and this will calculate, okay, how much miners are running or how much miners are not running, how much total hash rate. This way you don't need to calculate it manually, and you have all those data, and you will able to find it out, all those things, and do that. Even if you want to turn off all those miners and anything you want to do, even individual basis, if you want to fetch some data, you can do that. And there are some expose APIs as well. If you are a developer, you can also use some JavaScript applications and do that. So, okay, so this kind of software is also needed if you are building a miner farm. Okay, so we have discussed about the power source, we have discussed about the proper voltage monitoring. Smart PPD also we have discussed about. So PPD is nothing but which will provide the power to all the PSUs of the individual miners. Internet everyone is aware of. Cooling system, yes, we will be discussing it. And then miners and the software for management. Anyone has any doubt till here or anything? So they can ask. Otherwise, I will move further.
Shivam, I do have a question.
Sure.
I have two questions.
Sure.
One is these listed miners that we know of, be it Iron or Bitdeer or Mara, all of these guys, right?
Mhm.
What are they? What are they using to mine? Are they standardized, or is it a secret as to what they're using?
So they some of the companies are using Moria, but not all of them. Like Mara, if I'm not wrong, they have their own management software, because Mara is a very big mining company, and they already have a R&D team. So I think they are using a, sorry.
Not on the software side, on the miner or the hardware side.
Hardware side, everyone is using all those either Antminer, Wattsminer, or Canon, or Bitdeer. But
Okay.
if you will ask me in percentage wise, so it's still 75% share Antminer has.
Okay, so the miners are not any different. They don't have specialized stuff, but they're running it at scale. They're running many, many miners at the same time in the same place, sourced energy in a very optimal way. That's their advantage, right? I'm just trying to understand, what are we fighting against when you're trying to solo mine, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and what are who are you fighting against, and what advantages they have over you, which
Okay.
is considerable because of some.
Yes. So, okay. Maybe just I will try to answer this.
And the
So
other
the advantage they have.
is also,
Mhm.
how profitable are these guys at the end of all this? Are the largest miners mining profitably at the moment? If yes, then
Yes, yeah, they are profitable. They are profitable at the moment.
okay. If yes, then what kind of profitability do they have, right? Because some of them are listed, they must be reporting numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't believe they are reporting correct numbers. And yes, but this I'm aware of. They all are profitable. All the big players I'm talking about, yes, they are profitable at the moment. And if we will talk about, okay, what are the advantages they have? So first thing is, yes, they are doing everything in a high scale. But if you will ask me in hardware perspective, so okay, so if you will ask me, most of them are using the similar or the same kind of hardware which is available for us as well. Okay, so we can purchase it from Antminer. But some companies have very good relation with those companies, and sometimes they make a custom uh, miner for them as well. But the percentage is very, very less. Okay, so most of them are still using the miners which are available for individual as well. Means you can also purchase it quant miner or watts miner, but because now they are everyone wants to increase their profit. So first thing, how they want to increase their profit, they are doing some R&D on heat management. So they are trying to utilize all those things, which as a solo miner it is pretty hard because whatever heat generation we as a solo miner you are generating, that would be very less. And second thing is they are also trying different things. Like if they are using immersion solution, so you have to uh, what should I? You have to prepare a box, right? In which you will be putting all those miners, and you have to make all those flow and everything. So that mechanical design, so they also hire, so that's why I was talking about them. They also hire those mechanical engineer guys who will design all those boxes where they will put the miner, and they will use in a such a way, they mostly, because they have people, and they are using the same hardware, but they try to optimize more and more, and they can generate more and more terahash from the same hardware. So that's what 95% of the big companies are trying to do at the moment. Hope I'm able to answer that question.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay. So
Also,
yeah, yep.
if they
Mhm.
buy the miners like at a scale, they may get some discounts from the
Yeah, definitely.
supplier.
Yeah. So, yeah, even what happens, I may tell you some of the things what they do. Like if you are purchasing a very high bulk from Antwine or these companies, sometimes they will give you 2 years warranty as well. And also, what happens? Like let us suppose you are putting an order of 2,000 pieces, so they will say out of 2,000, if 100 had any issue, will be having any issue to in 1 year, they have to uh, pay. But if more than 100, then those miners repair cost, they don't need to pay. So these are all those agreements. So this is also, yes, definitely, yeah, if you are purchasing in very high uh, pieces, then there will be an agreement, and sometimes they negotiate the pricing. Along with that, they also negotiate all those things as well. Like, okay, if they are purchasing 2,000 pieces, they will say, okay, if 100 miners uh, will not work correctly in 1 year duration, maybe the company will pay. Otherwise, if more than 100 is not working, then maybe you have to give some assurance that you will take care of those and do the repair, and we will be not be paying you for that. So yes, they will be having all those things as well. But they have
Well,
a extra. Sorry, please go ahead.
yeah. So I was just wanted to add they can negotiate also regarding the pricing of the electricity because they will be taking large amount of electricity. They will be a large customer to electricity supplying company. So that advantage also they have over a small miner.
Correct. Yeah, I totally agree. Like they can negotiate with the government as well or the third party as well. Like, okay, they need in a 5 cents or 4 cents. Yes, they can do that. But they also have extra overhead as well, if you will see. Extra overhead, like, okay, if you are doing solo mining, you will not be hiring a firmware engineer guy. You will not be hiring a mechanical engineer guy. You will not be hiring a chemical engineer guy, and all those extra things. So yes, they have extra overhead, but yes, here that's why if you will see, most of the mining farm are profitable. Solo miner are struggling little bit, because sometimes they don't have, because anything, I can give you example like, okay, if we are cooking food for two people, then definitely maybe the cost for one person would be higher. But if we are cooking the same thing for thousands of people, we can optimize the things, and then the cost would go down. So yes, this they are playing, and that's why most of the bigger miner firm are profitable, but solo miner are still struggling. But if they can also utilize all those things, which they are doing it, then they can also become profitable. Okay, anyone has anything they want to add, or we can move further?
Shivam, one more question.
Sure.
What from your experience, what do you see as the life of this capex, right? Like how many years do you think this hardware lasts? Basically, after a point you might not want to use it, right?
Yes, and this definitely I want to cover, because many people think, okay, in the website it is written, okay, this much watt. I can take an example of anyone. So if we can open, okay, let us suppose this one only. And if we can, okay, let me go there. And I'm not I'm not aware of these websites. I'm just opening it. Just want to show you if they are showing daily price and all those things. But this is not accurate, okay? And second thing is, uh, you might think, because once you are purchasing one or two pieces, that is okay. But if you are purchasing in bulk, then you have to give an order 6 months before, 1 year before, okay? And whatever calculation you might have done, that will get changed, because the terahash Bitcoin difficulty and everything will get changed. Prices will get changed, okay? And this is what sometimes solo miner will be in loss, because what they do, they will calculate order once they are purchasing this model, then that time they are calculating all the profitability. But what will happen was the model got delivered, that time everything got changed, and you will not able to get the accurate thing which you are asking for. And second thing is, as the time will get passed, the profitability will get reduced over time. If you will ask me one hardware what life cycle I will feel 4 to 5 years, because I never know after halving what will be the difficulty and these things, because no one will able to predict these things. So generally I would say 4 or 5 years, not more than that. So if you are purchasing any hardware, then you have to make sure in you should able to cover all those capex or these things in just 1 or 2 year time frame. So this is my recommendation. It might happen after 4 to 5 years also, you may able to do that. But one thing always remember, people calculate all those things. They feel whatever they have mentioned during release time, that will be always the terahash and all those things. But difficulty will means they do all those calculation and they feel everything is stable. But in this scenario, these things are not stable. As the time will get passed, the difficulty will get increased, and the miner which you are using will start giving you low profitability, and at some point there will be no profitability. So if you'll ask me the timeline, it is hard to tell, but generally I take 4 years or 5 years, not more than that. And I always try to find out in 2 years I should able to, or even in 1 year I should able to cover the capex. If it is the higher investment, then maybe 1.5 year, 2 year I can think of, not more than that. Anyone has any other question, or we can move further? Okay. So these are things which you need. Then if you will ask me what are the other things they will also require, because as a solo miner, you will not require software for management, right? You also not require switches, because here you require switches. Why? Because you will be connecting all those miners. So you need network switch, you need external power protection, Why? Because you have to, there will be a farm, you have to make sure all the measurement and management, even the temperature sensor, all those sensors should be there in the whole farm, and you will able to monitor all those things. Then, as we have discussed about, yes, if you are cooling system, so in cooling system, yes, if you are using hydro, air, or oil, so these things should be there. These are the things you need to build a smart mining operations. First is power source, as we have discussed, ASICs, voltage monitor, and all those things. Smart PDU, power supply, internet, network switches, and all those things. You have to connect all those things to all those miners, and that will be connect to one intranet. So if you'll ask me what is intranet, so intranet is, so there is an two terms we use it, internet and intranet. So internet is like, okay, everything's connected to internet, what we are using, yes. And if you have a local IP, like we sometimes use 192.168 and this, and another, if another device is also connected to the same IP, same switch or router, you can able to communicate, and that is intranet, that is local network. Okay, so yes, they connect and they make sure everything is intranet, and only one device would be there which will be sending all those data encrypted way from intranet to internet. Okay, so they also need to take care of all those things as well. Okay, so we have covered this. Now you might be thinking, okay, what is smart PPDU you are talking about? Or PPDU, or I can write it PDU. PDU is nothing but power distribution unit. And what is smart? So there is one dump power distribution unit. In that, what will happen? All the power distribution, you know how much, just like think of a maybe external power socket. If you have that, you might think of a power distribution unit, right? That is a dumb one, right? But here, if you what is smart one? So smart one is, first thing is electrical protection for each miner, so they should able to manage all those things. And smart means anything. If I will add smart, like smart bulb, smart fan, and all those things, what does it mean? It will allow you to complete control from anywhere, right? So smart power distribution unit means you should able to control the power distribution, and if anything short circuit happen, and if you are not there in the lab or the firm, you should able to control all those things either through the mobile app or through the dashboard or somewhere, right? Second thing, once you are if okay, so just one thing, if this miner is saying I will consume this much, uh, this is 12 kilowatt and this thing, will you able to believe? No, because maybe what they have measured, that will be an ideal scenario, and in your case, because of the fan is running faster, or maybe the temperature is high, or these things, it may change all the power input. And as a company, if you're running, you have to calculate the OPEX, right? So you cannot calculate the OPEX like as a solo miner. If you remember, like yes, we have done it through the script, but in that we have mentioned everything which was there or mentioned in the data sheet or the manual of the miner. Like if miner documentation is saying this much they will consume, we are just taking that as a consideration, right? Because there would be only 5%, 10% of deviation. But once you have hundreds or thousands of miners, then the 5% also change everything, and they want all the accurate OPEX calculation. So what they will do, they should have the power distribution smart, which will calculate how much power distribution it is doing, and based on that you can calculate all those things in a correct manner, right? So it will consume data from each miner independently. It should also able to remote switch off and on each miner. So smart power distribution unit, because think like a smart plug. So we also in the home automation you might have seen, you might have a smart plug and play type of device. Like even if your fan is not smart or bulb is not smart, you can just use the smart plug, and through that you will able to control your bulb and fan on those things. Similar way you can think of the power distribution unit. Through that you will able to control all this. Let us suppose you want to make sure if the temperature is going above threshold, you don't want to run your miner, because either the ASIC will get damaged if you are keep running above the threshold temperature, or something else would happen. Then you will able to remotely turn on and off each miner individually, and in that way smart PDU will come into the picture, and that PDU itself will be connected to the Ethernet, because you need to communicate with the smart PDU, and that should be connected to the internet. So they will be having this network LAN and all those connection, and through that this distribution unit will connect to whom? To software which we have discussed, software management system. Example, Moria, right? So this should be able to connect. If you will ask me how, so all the power distribution which you will use, generally they have um, APIs to call. So you can call those APIs, and through that you can able to control all those things. And it is easy, like because it is connected to uh, the smart PDU is connected to the internet. And if you'll ask me how the design would look like, so yeah, I can also. Uh, so this is a switch. If someone has seen the routers, switch is also similar. Like in an industrial switch, you will be having so many sockets like this, so many. So one would be connected to smart PPDU. So this you can think of a smart PPDU, and there should be miners which might be connected this, this, and there should be a server or node. It depends, like, okay, if you are just using a server or if you are also running a node individually, there should be a bigger system which will be also connected here. And this server, because we are calling is a server, so server means this can able to communicate directly to the internet. So you never want to expose your miners directly connected to the internet. You don't want this directly to connect to the internet just for a security purpose, because as you have seen last time we have discussed that there were some bugs earlier. Ant miner can able to access independently, like even if your device is not if your device, you have purchased your device, you have done all the configuration, but internally, if Antminer one, they were having a backdoor through that they can access it. So most of the companies they don't want to do these things, because the everything profit and everything depends on the miner. They will make sure these things will get isolated. Even there is some bug, they should not able to communicate. There is a way they can do that, but definitely it will reduce the chances. And then because this is the internet, so if you are sitting somewhere else in some different country, you can just run some of the software management just like Moria, and you can able to communicate everything using this. Okay, so this way the whole communication generally works in a smart PPU. Okay, now, okay, we have discussed about all those components we want. At least you might be having an idea what are the things we want. But cooling system. Okay, so how we will decide, okay, which cooling system we will gonna use for our mining farm. So as we have discussed about air cooling, hydro, immersion oil. And we have not discussed, but there is one more, spray cooling. Sometimes they have some liquid cooling, and they will keep trying to spray it on the ASICs, so ASICs will get cool. Okay. Now, okay, when we'll use air cooling. So anyone can tell me which one would be the powerful cooling? Or like if you are in the higher temperature zone, what are the some cooling system you can use? Or some of them maybe will not be beneficial. So air cooling is low cooling power. Okay. If you are, because see, first thing is, even if you want to run air cooling, that is also take less power. But if the temperature is very, very high, air cooling may not help that much. So why you use air cooling? Because first thing is cheaper. Air cooling is cheaper. You don't need to. Why we are saying cheaper? Because you just need fan. You just no need all the cooling pipes and all those design on these things. And even if you will see, uh, okay, so let us suppose S19. Okay, so S19. If you are purchasing Antminer S19, so that will also come with air cooling, with means with fan. And if you will find S19 will also come with hydro cooling. And if you will find S19 will also come with immersion. But if you will see the pricing, this fan will be cheapest one, and hydro will be the costly as compared to fan. And if you compare all those things, maybe immersion cooling will be double the pricing of the S19 or maybe triple. So this much difference might be there. Okay. So air cooling is, yes, definitely cheaper, but what is the trade-off here? So cheaper, but trade-offs are shorter miner life. Why I'm saying this? Because air cooling will not able to cut down the temperature very, very less. It might, like if you are in the cool places, then maybe air cooling is okay. But if you are in the place where the not very cool temperature, then maybe air cooling will not able to cool the miner, and more ASIC will get heat, the more life will get reduced to shorter miner life. Second thing, it should be noisy, and yes, dust and all those things would also be there. In hydro, first thing is you need all those water blocks, you need heat sinks, you need to make sure that heat exchange is happening through water and chips. So here in hydro, you don't need any engineer. Okay, sorry, in air cooling, you don't need an engineer. You will just put a fan nearer to the A6, and that should means, yes, you need engineering, but maybe not a lot of engineering as compared to hydro, because here you have to make sure that the pipes which you are using, that should touch the ASICs, and they should take the heat from the ASIC, and they should able to reduce the heat using the water cooling system. Okay, so you have to prepare the heat sinks. So here, uh, water, sorry, water block heat sinks. You also need to make sure no leakage is there, or you have to make sure the isolation is there properly. Okay, so these things, so many things you have to take care. That's why the cost will also get increased as compared to the S19 with fan. Okay, and here, yes, because this will be having a better heat transfer, very less noisy because you are not running a fan, and the trades off are, so if you will ask me the trade-offs, so not cheap, also hard to clean, because here you just need to clean the fan. Fan you can do it, right? In hydro, if there is anything you have to clean, You have to make sure you are removing all the water from the tank, then you can able to clean. So everything is very hard here. Okay, so even hard to clean. Even if you want to remove the ASICs, this is also very hard. You have to make sure everything is isolated. Then you can remove the miner from this water box, and then you can do that. Similar with immersion oil. So this can make sure the heat will be exchanged through the oil, and that is, if you will compare with water, the oil will able to drop so much heat, and the best part is it may be adaptable to all models. What I'm trying to say is, if you have designed the immersion oil, these style things now, or the tank, the immersion oil tank where you will be putting all those miners, so there will be a tank in that you will fill all those oil, and after that you will put all the immersion cooling miners there, and all the heat will get removed through the oil. But the cost or the trade-off for first thing is very costly. Second thing is you need to change the oil time to time. So because water, yes, you can keep changing it, but oil, if you want to change it, because you have put it in the oil tank, maybe after a year, or it depends which oil you are going to use and all those things, you have to replace all those things. So that is also comes under OPEX. You have to do all those calculations. But the immersion oil will make sure the heat will not go above threshold, and it may increase the minor or ASIC life cycle. Or I would say, I have seen, that would be my personal experience, but I have seen if we are using immersion one, less ASICs got damaged as compared to the air cooling. That could be my personal experience, but yes, this is what I have seen it. Okay. So yeah, I believe you get a basic idea about all those things, what you need to build a smart mining operation. In next upcoming lectures, we will discuss more about, okay, how this air cooling and these things they design, because we are just using a fan, right? But they will not just be using the fan, and they just not be relying on the fan which is there in the miner. They will design the whole farm in such a way that that would be a good place, and there should be a adiabatic panel, and through that maybe some airflow should happen from one place to another place, and that will also help us for air cooling. So these things also we will discuss. Then we will also discuss, let us suppose if you are making a mining farm in an island, or if you are building a mining farm in Texas, what are the things you have to look for, or what are the trade-offs are there. Then we will look for, if you are designing a hydro cooling system, how the things would be there, how the cold water outlet should go, and how these things would happen. So I have some pictures. I will share it with you in the next session. Then we will also see about little bit about cooling. And as we haven't discussed about the spray cooling, I will cover it in the next session. And we will cover how the oil spray will happen and what are the trades of our spray cooling itself. Okay. Then maybe a little bit more detail we will cover about the hardware cycle in just a two-liner. I have already explained you, like in my opinion, what could be the hardware cycle. But see, if you are purchasing one or two miner, you don't need to do all those calculation in depth. But if you are working for a mining firm, then you have to do all those details. Like, let us suppose if new model is coming, then how much time you have to wait, and then you have to purchase. And if they are saying model one will get be there in the 6 months, and another model will be there in the 1 year, then you have to do all those calculation, and based on that you have to find it out which one will able to generate you more profitability. So these things also we will cover. And the last and the most important part, the heat repurposing, how we can able to do it. And I will show you two or three real life application patterns which people are using in some places. So that I will also show you with the example. So that is the things which we will be discussing in the next session. So yeah, if anyone has any question or any doubts, they can ask. Otherwise, yeah, we are good for the day for the session. We can ask the questions and discuss further.